Metal Driver here, and I'm back. And sorry I was gone for a bit. I was sick, but now I'm feeling better. And what better way to return than to review a 2-pack? And that is the Ringside exclusive AEW Blood and Guts dog collar match, MJF versus CM Punk. We get a nice image of the two wrestlers on the side, and then on the other side of the box we get a look at the accessories. Then on the back we get a nice image of the two from the match. I love the look of this box, it's bloody good. And the other thing that is bloody good are all the cool people that leave comments on my videos, so to all you fine folks, you have been acknowledged. And with that being said, let's go ahead and open this up and take a closer look at MJF and CM Punk. And here we have the best in the world and CM Punk. Out of the packaging, we get a nice 360 look at both figures. We get to see all the nice bloody details that are all over. And they come with a few accessories that include fisted bloody hands, and a wide grip and open bloody hand for MJF, and these hands are taped up. Some nice detail on the tape, that looks good. And an alternate screaming head sculpt for MJF, and I think this looks pretty good. Jazzware's head scans have been hit or miss, especially with the open mouth head scans, and even the previous MJF figures, some of the heads I thought were okay, some of them I didn't really like that much. This one, I think I like this. I think they did do a pretty decent job at capturing Maxwell's likeness, so I'm pretty happy with that. Sculpting looks good, the paint on the teeth, the eyes, and the facial hair looks good. I like the sculpting on the hair. And of course, the blood that's on the face looks really nice. It's one of the selling points to these Blood and Guts sets that we get from Ringside, so this is really cool. And then we get fisted bloody hands for CM Punk. It's got the X's on the taped wrist right here. It says drug-free on the knuckles. That is painted very well, looks good. And then we get some chopping hands with blood on them as well. We see the X's on these hands and the drug-free on the knuckles that are painted very well. And then we also get a screaming alternate head sculpt for CM Punk, and this looks really good. I think Jazzwares did a better job capturing the likeness on this head scan for Punk than on the previous released Punk head sculpts that we got last year. So I am really happy with how this looks. The only problem I have with mine is that there's a little bit of a paint defect here. You can see, let's zoom in. The paint on the teeth is painted on the mustache, so that just looks kind of silly, but it's just a minor QC issue with mine. I probably might just paint brown over that so that it's just the facial hair. But aside from that, everything else looks good. The sculpting on the hair looks nice, the wet hair, the blood all over the face looks so good. The eyes are painted well, the sculpting on the mouth, the screaming expression looks nice, so I'm really happy with how this turned out. Do you see the tattoo right there in the back? Good sculpting on the hair, so really nice head scan. And finally, the other accessory that we get is this dog collar and chain, which looks really nice. I like that they used an actual chain here. It's not sculpted plastic, and then I'm pretty sure you can take these off. Yep, just gotta pop the head off. And there you go, nice look at the dog collar. Sculpted really well, good paint on the silver buckles, and that looks really nice. And again, the chain here is a actual chain, so I like that. So that is nice. Great for posing the figures in action poses, so I like that they went with that instead of a plastic chain. And then take a look at the head sculpt that's on MJF. This is also brand new, and I think it looks pretty good. Certainly better than some of the other ones that we got. The sculpting on the facial hair looks really good. I like the expression on his face. The eyes are painted well, so are the lips. And then of course the blood is on the face, that looks really good. Sculpting on the hair looks nice, so I really like how that turned out. And then looking at the back, we see blood splattered throughout the body, on the back, on the shoulders, the arms, the hands, so that's all over, so that looks really cool. See that on the right arm as well. Good paint on his tattoo here on the bicep, good paint there. Now let's move the chain off to the side. Let's look at the chest. Some good paint on the blood here. On the torso, you get his tattoo on the side, painted really well. And then unfortunately, it does feel a bit loose on mine here at the torso. My CM Punk also felt that way, so that's a bit disappointing. Then look at the trunks. I like this color of green. I like this metallic look. The paint on the logos on the trunks look really nice. You get some blood splatter on the trunks as well, so that looks good. Backside says MJF. Good paint right there on the letters. We don't see any blood on the back of the legs. Well, we do see the knee pads. Good paint there. I really like this shade of green. I like how this looks. Looks really nice. Not a whole lot of blood on the legs here. We do see it on the left leg. And speaking of the legs, yeah, it's going to have that same issue that all the MJF figures have that limit the articulation, so unfortunately it does not go that high up. And as you can see, if you start moving it a little bit higher, it's going to dig right into that hip and groin area, so it's going to cut into that plastic. So that is an issue that Jazzware has not seemed to have fixed. Hopefully they do in the future, because that is quite frustrating. White boots, paint on the side in gold, looks really nice. Same thing on the other one. And speaking of nice, this head sculpt is also nice, and it is also brand new. I love the sculpting on the hair, giving it that wet effect, so that looks really cool. The sculpting on the face looks nice. I think this has a better likeness than the previous Punk head sculpt that we got. Yeah, I definitely like this bloody one instead. The paint on the facial hair looks really good, the lips look good, the eyes look good for the most part. It does look like mine has paint on this hair right here, so it looks like the eye is going right through the hair. Small QC issue, not a big deal, just looks a little bit funny. And then we do get blood on the face, which looks really good. Sculpting on the side looks nice. Good sculpting on the back of the head. And speaking of the back, we do see blood on the back of the figure along with the back of the legs. Here on the shorts, that looks really nice. Let's get a look at the tattoos here. Painted pretty well. I like how the tattoos turned out. In fact, I want to say they look a little bit better than last year's Punk. So I like the detail, the colors. We do get blood on the arms, so that is going right on top of the tattoos. So a lot of paint detail on this Punk figure. Blood here on the arms and the hands. Same thing over here, that looks really nice, holy cow. And the tattoos look good here on this arm as well. More blood splatters. Then, looking at the torso, we get the tattoos on the chest here. Looks to be painted well, and we get more blood. Holy cow, this Punk figure really got a good dose of blood. So Jazzware certainly did not go cheap on the paint on this Punk figure, so I really appreciate that. And then we get these shorts, which looks really nice. I like this attire, so it's nice to get this in figure form, so that is really cool. And here we have the loose torso, as I mentioned, so that's disappointing. Lot of blood detail on the shorts. You get Punk painted on the side, the letters look pretty good. Same thing with the X's here and the line work, that looks nice. And then the rest of the lower body, we get black knee pads, black boots, pretty much all black. No extra paint detail. So really like the attire, love the paint on this Punk. The only downside is that we don't have a regular version without any blood. Be nice if we get one in the future, because I really do like this attire. Going over the articulation, the head is on a ball joint and a hinge, so it goes that high up, that far down. A little bit hindered by the collar. Can turn side to side and tilt slightly. Shoulder goes that high up, it's a bit tight on mine. It rotates all the way around, bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows, a swivel and hinge at the wrist, a little bit tight there. He crunches that far forward and that far back at the upper diaphragm, and then he crunches further forward at the waist and further back. And as I mentioned, this is unfortunately loose, so that is disappointing. He can slightly, actually not really twist at the waist, but he can twist slightly at the diaphragm. Legs go that far out. They go that high up. A thigh cut. Double jointed knees that are hindered by the plastic of the shorts. A cut at the top of the boot. Ankle goes not really high up. That far down. And some decent ankle pivot. MJF features the same points of articulation, so the head goes not really high up. Slightly, actually a little bit better going down. Can turn side to side and slightly pivot. Shoulder goes that high up. Rotates all the way around. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Great range there. A swivel and hinge at the wrist. And this arm also feels loose, so that's annoying. Crunches that far forward. Goes that far back, so great range there. Can twist very well at the upper diaphragm and pivot. Not really twist at the waist. Legs go that far out, so great range there, but not a good range at all here. In fact, that's quite pathetic that this is what, the 5th MJF figure? 6? We've had plenty of MJFs, and they all feature this same crappy articulation by the hips, so that is disappointing. A thigh cut. Double jointed knees, a cut at the boot, ankle goes that high up, that far down, and some great ankle pivot. Here is the dog collar MJF next to a couple other MJF figures that were released, and finally here is CM Punk next to every single AEW CM Punk figure. Alright, final thoughts on this set. Well, let's start with the good. I love the head scans that come with these figures. Both the one that's already on the figures and the alternate ones are really good. The only minor issue I had was that both of the Punk head sculpts had some very minor paint QC issues. Not really a big deal, I don't think it's going to be a widespread thing. Then I absolutely love the paint job on both of these figures. The blood paint looks really good. CM Punk's attire overall looks really nice. The only sucky thing is that we don't have an alternate clean version. Hopefully we do get one in the future, that would be nice. And these figures would look great posed on a shelf, so aesthetically they look amazing. Now for the bad, aside from minor QC problems, does have some other QC issues, and that is the loose joints. My MJF has a loose arm and a loose torso. CM Punk also has a loose torso. I don't know if this is going to be a widespread thing. I don't know if other people have complained about that. But considering Jazzware's track record, I'm willing to bet that there are going to be a lot of them that are having this issue. So just be aware of that. And of course, MJF still has limited articulation, limited range on the legs. That is something that should be fixed by now. Hopefully Jazzwares gets their crap together and we actually get an MJF that can kick high enough. But in the meantime, kind of pathetic on Jazzwares' part that they haven't fixed that. Aside from that, I do recommend this because from a visual standpoint, these look really good. Plus the dog collar accessory is really nice, and I'm sure you could fit these with other figures so you could have a dog collar match with other wrestlers. So hopefully this video was informative enough to make a decision on whether or not you want to purchase this set. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe. Click on the card at the end of the video if you want to see more wrestling figure reviews, and I'll see you next time.